Red Right Hand is a brand new 2024 film directed by the Nelms brothers, and this stars Orlando Bloom, who I like seeing pop up here and there. He's obviously been made famous from Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean, so he literally has absolutely nothing to worry about in life anymore because I'm sure he's just being paid and paid and paid from those works alone. But I watched a film recently with him called Retaliation, I'm pretty sure it was, and I ended up really liking it. His performance was amazing in that one, and he still got his acting chops to a T. And this one is no different. He does play this like Southern American, so he has that thick Southern American accent, which in my opinion he pulls off just fine. But this film definitely has that like rednecky Southern vibe to it. This also stars, or one of the stars in this is Andy McDowell, who is I know from the show, what was it called, Made, who did a phenomenal performance in that, and that's the first time that I've seen her. And then I started seeing her in other things after that, but very, very good actress. And this also has this new up and coming actress, she's really young, named Chapel Oakes, who I think really outdid herself in this film as well. Her performance was really good for her age and what she was asked to do. And the chemistry with her and everybody else in the film just really, really worked. And she really gave off this like believable teen girl, and I really like that. So what we have going on here basically is we have Orlando Bloom's character who comes back into town. He has a brother-in-law who's raising this little girl. I forget her name. I do forget names in this film. But yeah, his brother-in-law, whose wife passed away, uh, the brother-in-law is now raising this girl by himself, and he comes back into town, Orlando Bloom's character, and this town is basically like run by this kingpin woman played by Andy McDowell, and she is rough around the edges is an understatement. I mean, she's basically uh, this film is very like gang related. It almost strangely enough plays off like Grand Theft Auto kind of thing, where Orlando Bloom's character is always asked to do these missions and favors for this woman. They call her Big Cat, and Big Cat literally owns this entire town, like the entire sheriff department, and she controls everything. She makes all the decisions for everybody, and everything in this town is corrupt to the point where it's really hard to tell who's like the antagonists and who's the protagonist because everybody is just showing up in the same places. Like there's one scene where, for example, I'll just keep it brief, but there's a police officer, one of the sheriffs, who pulls this woman over and like drags her out of the car and everything because this woman basically points a gun at him, and he arrests her, and she's like, "You made the biggest mistake of your life." And then 5 minutes later, the cop who pulled her over and arrested her is in Big Cat's home, and they're treating this whole situation like this purge situation, like this hostile situation where she rolls out this cart with a bunch of like tools and weapons on it and asks her boys or whatever to mess this cop up, kind of thing. But then Orlando Bloom is also there, who I thought he was supposed to be the good guy, but he's just sitting there and watching all this happen and like not really doing anything about it. But I guess, with the universe that this is in, I think everybody is pretty powerless, and the only person with power is this woman, Big Cat. And there's this preacher character as well who is reformed reverend or whatever, and he's a really cool character. I really liked him, and I really liked the depth that he added to the film and to its plot. And the characters are interesting. I'll give it that. This film doesn't reinvent the wheel by any means. It definitely plays out fairly by the numbers and by the book. This film, I will say, reminds me a lot of one of those vessels that you could just throw in like Bruce Willis or Nicolas Cage in their later careers and put them in the film for like 90 seconds total and then call it a Bruce Willis film. Like all those films came out later in their careers where, you see Bruce Willis's face on the poster, but he's literally in the movie for less than 2 minutes. And you could literally take him out and the film would be exactly the same. This is like that film, or this is like a film like that, except it's just its own thing. They didn't throw in a superstar into it. They brought in Orlando Bloom, who, in my opinion, really crushes his role, and kills it. And I think he did and performed exactly what he was asked to do. And I really liked Andy McDowell, and I really liked the teen girl Chapel Oaks. Everybody did a really good job, and then all the supporting cast and supporting characters. Things get really intense in this film, and like torture kind of brutal, especially in certain moments. Everybody's just ruthless. It's really, people at each other's necks. Not really in a who can you trust sense, but everything's like a ticking clock. Like people are going to come after these people. You know that the brother-in-law is going to have people after them. It's just a matter of when, kind of thing. And they really keep the tension going with that kind of plot, I guess. So yeah, I like the setting. I think it might take place in Kentucky, but I may be wrong. I know it was shot in Kentucky. Looking at IMDb, very small town kind of thing, and has that small town feel. And I really like this film, and it was a cool project to see Orlando Bloom in again, because I know he's a talented guy, and I know he has a lot of range to him. He merits the action genre a lot, and he just has that style to him that I can see him. I can see him do a lot more like this, instead of just being known as the the elf from Lord of the Rings and the pirate from Pirates of the Caribbean. But yeah, definitely good stuff. It was an enjoyable film. Definitely on the B-movie side, very much on the B-movie side. I watched another film this year called Cult Killer with Antonio Banderas, and I kind of lumped this film in the same kind of vein as that one. I have a review for Cult Killer on the channel. But I would put this one above Cult Killer, so it comes one step above. But in its B-movie sense, in its very violent B-action movie premise and story, I think this one works really well. So I had a really good time with Red Right Hand, and it had a limited theater release, and I don't know if it's still playing in theaters, but it is on VOD. It came out in theaters and on VOD in the same day. I don't know why they do that, but they did it with this one. So if you could find it somewhere, or if you could find it on VOD, of course, you can definitely do worse than this one. This one is definitely entertaining, to say the least. So I really liked it. I think I gave it a 2.5, so it comes down right smack in the middle. Won't waste your time, but it's not a masterpiece or anything like that, but it's really not supposed to be. Just a fun, entertaining action movie for just under 2 hours. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you'd like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I will be back with more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.